Welcome back to all of our league managers and perennial losers. Thanks to this league's great success and to our new sponsors, we have expanded from 12 to 14 teams. Due to this change, we are no longer the League of the 12 Dumb Men. We will now be known as the Washed Up Football League, or the WFL. Although some of our league managers may have tits, this is not to be mistaken with the Women's Football League. We hope this expansion makes the league more competitive and helps some of the shittier drafters feel the better team. Your 2024 fantasy football season starts now.
And now, your host of the Soft Dick Show, Soft Cotton and Dick Wild.
Hello and welcome to the first ever episode of the Soft Dick Show. I'm your host, Dick Wild. Here with me is Soft Cotton. Can somebody get Joe Biden's meth guy on the phone? Cotton's dementia's kicking in.
Can you believe this new studio upgrade, Dick? I mean, sure, we're renting it by the hour, like some basic TikTok influencer, renting a fake plane, but still.
Last year, we filmed at our local YMCA, and we were really scraping by on the funds.
$20 really was $20 back then.
The things we did for those dollars.
Best not to think about it, Dick. Past is dark, our future's bright.
Wonder if Kamala Harris thought the same thing when she had to come face to face with Willie Brown's One-Eyed Dragon for the last time.
Well, she is with a white guy now. Let's take a look at some of last year's results. Tucker Coral was your league winner, defeating Mike Drudy in the finals, 121-76. What a blowout that was. We had Single and Fat with his best year to date, finishing in 5th place. Your big loser for the second consecutive year was Trey Sandville, who finished in last place. Can you go for the trifecta? You see, Trey looks at draft strategy and self-care the same way. What's the point? My wife only touches me once a year anyways. Over to you, Dick.
Thanks, Cotton. Last year's League of 12 Done Men had 0 trades, and it could have been because of proposals like these. Wow, top 5 QB for whatever that is. Thanks, Single and Fat. How about next time you trade out the donut for a treadmill? Jonathan Taylor, Devon Achane, and Raheem Mostert, or Kyle Pitts, Gus Edwards, and Alvin Kamara. What's more depressing? Seeing this trade pop up in your inbox? Or finding out that your only Tinder match, Jessica, is actually Steve, a Pakistani from Toronto, Canada? Thanks for the antivirus, Steve. Dick pic. Okay, I give up. Alright. Pretty evident that most of our league managers only play Madden on rookie. But let's liven this league up this year with some trades. And let's look back at some trades from the previous years that shook up the league. Devontae Adams for Darrell Henderson and Mark Andrews, 2021. Back when Mark Andrews was a tight end number 2. Those were simpler times. Devontae Adams was traded again in 2021. He was loved as much as a redheaded stepchild. Now, people at home, that's pretty bad. We hadn't seen such a one-sided trade until Joe Biden dealt a washed-up lesbian basketball player for the literal merchant of death.
Speaking of a washed-up athlete with a lesbian haircut, last year's winner is ready to give a victory speech.
What's up, my ninjas? It is me. I am him, your league champion. Word on the street is that our balding commissioner had to add 2 more teams just so I didn't win my 3rd title. Now, I might not be Destiny's Child, but me winning this league was written in stone long before I was ever born. You could say, I'm inevitable. It really is too bad, though. Just like Owen has never felt the touch of a woman, most of you will never feel what it's like to win the fantasy football playoffs. But here we are, another year for you guys to put on your draft caps. Leave me all the best players. See you in the draft room. Now that right there is the sound of a confident man.
Who can blame him? 2 wins in 3 years, $440 in prize money?
Can tell he ate well with that money. We're all witnessing the birth of his double chin.
I thought he was glowing, Dick.
You know, Cotton, the prospect of new life is always exciting. Equally so is your next vacation. Plan your next trip with Sushi Case. Inspired by the artistry and precision of a sushi master, our Sushi Case delivers excellent design and functionality. But don't take our word for it.
Let's hear from one of our loyal customers.
Hi, I'm Clara, and my Shoosh case is a lifesaver. Not only is it made with high-quality materials, but it comes in my favorite color salmon. My Shoosh case also saves me from awkward situations with the people next to me on the plane. Like this one time, a man asked me, "Why does it smell like I'm on a lobster boat in the middle of June?" Is that you, Clara? If it wasn't for my Shoosh case, I'd have to tell him it was my vagina. Thanks, Shoosh case. Too bad I smell like trout and not salmon.
Thanks, Clara. Hey now, I'm all for showing off the things you love in the form of an inanimate object. Let's take Minx's body pillow, for example. Nezuko has no choice but to go on a second date with him.
Few less tentacles than I expected. This next person also lacks tentacles. He'll still touch you inappropriately in any body of water. It's our very own commissioner, and here he is with the first pick. The first pick in this year's draft is Brandon Nickerson. Holy shit, Dick. Can you believe this?
Brandon has an average finishing position of third place. And unlike Tommy or Jason, we now have a competent drafter picking first overall. Something tells me the league may be in trouble.
Coming into this draft, do you think Brandon foresaw himself getting the number one pick? You have to imagine all those mock drafts he's done have gone out the window now that he has an easy road ahead of him.
Cotton, with those glasses, he can see through time, space, and the man that fucks his wife while he sits in the corner. And let me tell you, Cotton, cleaning up after the man that just sorbetted your wife, and then making him snacks, never gets easier.
Now that's an image I can't get out of my head. The second pick in this year's draft is Trey Sandville.
Congratulations to Trey and his wife on their incoming child, and for the second overall pick.
Much like Trey's draft position, his current wife is his second pick.
Trey could accurately be described as this league's bottom feeder, and not only because of his antics in the bedroom.
If we're going to print out our league standings, you could always tell which way is up, because Trey would be at the bottom of it.
Going from first to last is a long way to travel, and Trey rarely has time for travel.
When Trey's wife asks him where they're going on their next adventure, he often replies with, "My dear, we have an Amazon rainforest here at home, and most of it is undiscovered."
Sadly, for Trey's wife, there is no monster hiding in the bush.
The third pick in this year's draft is Ben Carbonell. Rounding out the top three is Ben Carbonell. Dick and I are still trying to figure out who the fuck he is.
Ben had a good draft last year, only making his first mistake in the 6th round. where he selected Zach Ertz, who ended up tight end 42.
Finding anything else about the man has been nearly impossible. This guy has the social reach of a leopard and the hide-and-seek skills of Saddam Hussein. You could say he just doesn't like to be disturbed, and who could blame him?
If that's the case, it must suck coming home after a long day at work, just for your girlfriend to nag you about the healing power of her crystals. Lucky for you, seems she likes to spend a lot of time alone, figuring out which one of those crystals has the best vibration.
The fourth pick in this year's draft. Owen.
Number 4 for Bobby Orr, the pick is Owens.
So far, Owen is the only manager to have a winless season. He's had a tough first 3 years, going a total of 14-28. String of bad form had Owen questioning if he could return to this league.
They say the Dead Sea is the saltiest body of water, but Owen is really challenging for that title. Except it's hard to call what Owen has, a body. It's more of a few misshaped branches that came together and formed a shallow puddle.
We'd like to congratulate Owen on starting his new job and receiving a pay raise. But don't worry, Owen still continues his part-time gig as Queen of the Florida Pride Parade.
In this economy, hair extensions, lashes, and makeup are really quite expensive. Thanks to Owen's pay raise, he can continue doing the things that he loves. So let's welcome back our Queen of Florida, our Duke of Docking, and our Prince of the Prolapse.
The fifth pick in this year's draft is Troy Sandville. With the fifth pick, it's choir boy Troy. We didn't have stats for Troy last year, and we don't apologize for that.
Troy's teams tend to just cruise through this league, and we forget he's even here. You can imagine our surprise when we realized he's had 2 top 3 finishes.
But can you blame us? Even the people in his hometown only remember Trey and Tyler, and even possibly that third brother that may be locked in the attic.
The only headline Troy has ever had is he was the first minor kicked off Epstein's plane.
However, Troy is seeking to change that. He recently proposed to his girlfriend on the beach, because what's more memorable than your favorite smell? The sixth pick in this year's draft is Mike Judy.
Mike Drudy has conceived the 6th pick.
In 2023, Mr. Drury drafted a dangerous team with the likes of CMC, Josh Allen, and Alvin Kamara. He was the favorite going into the finals, but his team choked.
Something his wife wishes he did more in the bedroom. Mike might be the worst golfer in this league, but like most trivial things, he is good at fantasy football.
With this league's second best record, it's no wonder he was last year's runner-up. Next month is Mike's 1-year anniversary. If his wife has learned anything in the past year, it's that she will always be the runner-up in the bedroom.
You'd think, as a former deli meat slicer, Mike would know his way around the roast beef. But there's no two ways to cut it. It's the meat and the Marines that gave Mike his nickname, Magic Mike.
Huh. I thought it would have been the Grants. The 7th pick in this year's draft is Mix. Look at that. Lucky number 7. You know who's not lucky? His mother. On the account, he still lives with her.
Cotton, this man has the blood sugar of Candyland and a body built like the Michelin Man. But don't let appearances fool you. This failed hot tub streamer knows how to build a football team.
Single Fat's record has been an upward trajectory since our inaugural season, going from 10th to 7th to 5th overall. Mix's team seems to have a tendency to cannibalize themselves, whether through injuries or trades.
For Minx's sake, let's hope he leaves the cannibalizing to his fantasy team, or else his pickled liver and enlarged heart don't stand a chance.
The 8th pick in this year's draft is Rafi Anderson.
And with the 8th pick, we have diversity.
As part of our league-wide diversity initiative, we have decided to add some much-needed color to our very pale manager room.
With this addition, and Owen filling out the LGBTQ requirement, we hope to be sponsored by Disney come this time next season.
Now for the man of the hour, the definition of Puerto Rican power. It's Rafi. As this is Rafi's first draft with us, his team-building skills are yet to be determined.
What we do know about the man is this. He has the hair of Boy George, the body of Curious George, and the parental skills of George Floyd.
You know, that man swindled me out of $20 the last time I was in Minneapolis.
Now, our overlords at Disney, before you cancel us, it should be noted that Curious George is 5 foot 2 inches tall. And Rafi is
5'6".
He's 5 feet 2 inches tall.
The 9th pick in this year's draft is Nathan Coro.
The 9th pick and next star of the reality TV show 90 Day Fiancé, it's Nathan.
He is the definition of mid. Nate's league record is 23-19. Nate has a knack for drafting 500 record teams that make deep runs into the playoffs. He is a real Cinderella story.
Nate's future wife will also be living her Cinderella story, but that's only because Nate will be forcing her to do all the household chores while he plays video games and eats TV dinners.
What's the hold up to this great life, you may ask? Well, finding a big enough box to ship her in has proved difficult.
Speaking of dirty boxes, Nate is Eskimo Bros with more people in the WFL than we've had seasons, proving once again that sharing really is carrying the same STDs.
Oh yeah! The 10th pick in this year's draft is Tom.
We have now entered the double digits with Tom Marsh.
You could say Tommy's had a full recovery since his motorcycle accident. However, the lasting effects are still quite relevant. This was on full display when you picked Darren Waller at the start of the 3rd round.
Knowing Tommy, we have not seen the end to these bad picks. Whether that's the fault of his accident or the weed, it is yet to be determined.
Due to the cognitive decline, Tommy and his son are now at the same reading level and will be working together through Hooked on Phonics. But look on the bright side, you could be hooked on Percocets. The 11th pick in this year's draft is Jason Sandville.
With that, pick 11 is off the board.
1-1. Individually as a finishing position, Jason will likely never get in fantasy football. However, last year was his best year yet, thanks to the computer drafting his team for him.
Most men Jason's age get a pain in their knee when it's going to rain. If only Jason had any feeling in his knees when it came to drafting players, then he wouldn't need help of the auto draft. Oddly enough, the only feeling Jason gets in his knees is the urge to get on him when he sees a picture of Eli Manning.
The 12th pick in this year's draft is Tucker Cora. The 12th pick and your current league champion is finally off the board.
Tucker owns the league's best combined record of 23-19. His notable picks from last year include Sam Laporta in the 14th, Devon A-Chain in the 13th, and Raheem Mostert in the 10th round.
You could say those picks were like finding a needle in the haystack. Or, as the woman who've had sex with him would say, it's like finding a needle in an unkept haystack.
Tucker must be pretty happy about winning twice in 3 years. It's too bad the only person he had to celebrate it with is Pamela Anderson.
Hopefully, one day, you'll find a woman to blur the lines between sex and the Geneva Convention.
But that won't happen until he can finally overcome his crippling porn addiction.
Hold Bessie in a nice rack. Thank you. The 13th pick in this year's draft is Nick Nistroy.
Congratulations to Nick. Steroids make my brain feel mushy. Nistroy on the 13th pick.
Nicholas had a rough draft last season that started with his first pick, Austin Eckler. He attempted to replicate Tucker's favorite pick from previous 2 seasons, but like most of the things in Nick's life, this was also a failure.
Fortunately for Nick, he has a great wife at home that always makes him his favorite meal, Trend bologna sandwiches. They say only steers and queers come out of Texas. With Nick's shrunken testicles and reduced sperm count, figuring out which he is actually difficult.
Just wait until he hits 50. He will have developed breasts, lost most of his body hair, which means we will see him boxing women at the 2048 Olympics. The 14th pick in this year's draft is Andy Browski.
That will do it. The last drafter is off the board.
He may be the last overall pick, but his penis is the first one I've ever seen that deserves hazard pay. That thing is like a bloodhound. It can smell desperate and dirty coochie a mile away.
He's a sommelier of the pH imbalanced, cottage cheese sounding meat wallets of the world. This is Andy's first attempt at drafting with us. He's a virtual unknown, a wild card.
On a different timeline, would Andy have won a championship already? Or would he be a perennial loser like many of our other managers?
Speaking of timelines, I often ask myself, what would have happened if a talentless Justin Bieber met Taylor Swift? Would they have created the ultimate song? How many EBT cards would they have gone through? And who gave who chlamydia?
With that, the 2024 Fantasy Football Draft comes to an end. Good luck to all the drafters. And that does it for the 2024 WFL Fantasy Draft and the Soft Dick Show.
If you made it all the way to the end, we would like to thank you. And the immigrants who built this set would also like to thank you, because cheap labor is the American dream.
We will see the managers on draft night. Until next time, your soft dick has fallen out.